What the fuck is this piece of shit?
We're live? Yeah, we're live. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Kraken's Den podcast number 2. Now, obviously, it was a slow day of news, and then certain things started happening today, so I changed certain topics. But hopefully it's going to be fun. It's going to be entertaining for you guys. So let me present the panel for today. First, let me present my brother, Devin. President Devin, how are you, man?
Doing good, brother. Ready
How you
to
feeling, man?
TTS today, man.
TTS today? Yeah,
yes,
man.
sir.
All right,
I was watching that fucking intro. I'm like, man, that's something right out of my handbook, bro. Good job.
All right.
Shit was dope.
I'm trying to find how to, figure it out how to edit things and do things by myself for now. But anyway, people like the intro, the music that I choose, and as you can hear in the background, maybe you're hearing to the Killer Instinct 2 OST music in the background. So Joey is my cousin. What the hell? Dirt. All right. Dirt. All right. Anyway, I have a special guest today. You guys have seen it in other podcasts, like in Boom Podcast, and I think in an Xbox International podcast. He's my fellow Latino from Puerto Rico, my buddy, Eternal Shaddai. How are you, bro?
Good evening. How are you today?
I'm good. What you doing?
I'm a little bit hyped though. I'm like, man, I'm all nervous and shit. Oh man, I haven't done this for a while, so
that makes two of us, man. This is only my second show. So.
Yeah, I'm not even running this, so I'm like, oh shit. But I'm good though. Other than that, I'm really, really good. Looking forward to it.
Now, this was a last minute addition. I consider my friend, a buddy of mine in the DMs. He's not much in podcasts, but he was, I think. Were you one of the last Scumcast, or what was it?
That
Dirt
not
did?
really, but I remember dropping into WBG like a year
once
and
in a while.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah. So Mr. Spade is the last minute edition, which I'm glad he's here. He said he has something to say. I wonder what is that. So, Mr. Spade, how are you, man?
Great, man. First off, great job with the podcast. I really like you guys' stuff. I love the intro, by the way. I think we all forget how many great IPs there are at Xbox, and it totally hyped me up, man. It was cool to see. And again, man, congratulations. You guys are great speakers and entertainers, and it's just awesome to see that in the community, man. Thanks for having me.
Thanks. Thanks for the kind words, man. I mean, the reason I'm doing this because I love to do it. Plus, the most important thing is the chat and entertain people. Everything else just falls in line, in my opinion. So anyway, I'm still trying to figure this out. I don't know if I'm a good host or not, but anyway, let's start with the first topic. First topic of the day. Let me pull up my screen real quick. First topic is we finally have official confirmation that Sony has been blocking games in order to not come to the Xbox platform. And there's my dog that was quiet all day. Now he's barking again.
He's ready to talk that shit.
He's ready to talk shit. So now, let me see if I'm... it happens all the goddamn time. Anyway, let me see. Let me share my screen real quick. Where is it? Say at least a book working those names. Where are you? I had a bookmark. Where is it? Ah, damn. Damn. But anyway, Zero Shaddai. We've known this we've known this for a while. We've known this we have this suspicion that Sony's always been blocking games, has been doing this with Square Enix, but apparently now we have hard confirmation they've been doing this, paying other third-party studios to not bring their games. Now that we have confirmation, what do you think about this, bro?
Let's put it this way. Let's be a little bit more logical about this. And everybody knows this is more of a business situation. Usually, when you have your own company, you want exclusivity so people could come to your platform or products, whatever you're making. But there's always laws. There's always a limitation on everything. And what happening here is pretty much Sony got caught. After all that barking, so now they're pretty much under the microscope. That's what's happening right now. And now they found out that Sony is literally actually doing some crazy deals to prevent those games to be released on the Xbox.
Yeah, man. I mean, the thing that I'm glad is actually we have like hard confirmation on paper. So this is from D Batch. He actually tweeted this like 6 hours ago. Let me read the little screenshot he made. Xbox, no player. This is an article, I think, from VGC, if I'm not mistaken. Says Xbox, no player should expect Final Fantasy 16 to be on any Xbox Series X or S or Xbox One. And there's reasons, and the reasons is a weird one. In an ongoing conflict between Sony and Microsoft, it has been revealed in release documents from the CMA 3.67, whatever that is, that Sony has signed deals with third-party developers to stop them from working with Microsoft. Specifically, Square Enix has promised to work with Square Enix has permission to work with others, presumably with this will be after 6 months exclusivity period, but Microsoft and the Xbox specifically is off limits to them. The exact details of the exclusions are not clear yet, but it means that third-party games made for Sony likely won't be on Xbox at any time in the near future and may not be on it at all. This is not only Square Enix, by the way. We know this because these papers are coming straight from Square Enix. However, recently, we've seen... Is that dirt, Devin? What the hell is that?
That's not dirt. That's Kevin Garnett.
Yo, Andrew Wiggins.
So that put me off guard. Recently we got Oxenfree, a game that I do love, a game that I purchased for some reason. It's releasing on Mac, on Luna, Switch, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5. Everywhere, cell phone, but it's not coming to Xbox. And there's been many examples of this. And my question is, do we think Sony has put clauses on every single third-party studio out there, or it's only a Square Enix thing? Devin, what do you think?
I definitely think there's multiple studios, like you know the whole Capcom thing, like Village. They put a clause on that it couldn't come to Game Pass, and like no matter what, like the game still came to Xbox, but like Square Enix specifically, and like studio like the Final Fantasy games, they haven't came to the console at all. So I think them specifically for sure, like they have some type of contract behind the scenes, or that's preventing them from either you can drop it on our console, which is the leading console in market share and whatnot around the world, or you can release it on Nintendo and Xbox, and we will just discard you. That's what I'm sure that they do. They say, hey, you can either roll with us or just not put it on Xbox. And obviously they're going to choose not to put it on Xbox because they want more exposure. You know what I'm saying?
You know what that sounds like to me? That's like some type of ultimatum. If you if you don't put it in here, if you don't put it in here, you're going to suffer. because common
Right.
sense that the PlayStation is the more popular. But that sounds to me like some type of ultimatum.
They're basically threatening them.
Yeah, pretty much. That's what it is.
Again, this reminds me back in the like late 90s, late 80s, early 90s. Nintendo used to do this. Nintendo used to tell retailers like, "Yo,
Oh,
if you
sell
put,
Sega shit?
yeah, the Sega thing, like they told retailers like, if you put any products from Sega on the stores and the shelves, we're not gonna put our stuff, Nintendo, on your store." And the same thing happened to third party studios. Like they were signing with Nintendo exclusively that you cannot put a game to Sega. So these moves are apparently keep happening, and they're happening now to Xbox. But my problem is, if this beneficial to these third-party studios or not. I mean, we've seen over and over again Square Enix reportedly that much of their games are like failures. They're not working. They're not selling what they say they need to sell. What's going on, Mr. Spade? What do you think about this? Yeah, we finally have confirmation that fucking Sony is blocking people.
Well, I mean, like you guys said, we've known about this for a long time, and it's sort of been an industry practice to have exclusivity to your platform. But where I think Sony really crosses the line is they say, you know what, you can have all of this, and you just can't put it on Xbox, right? And what's going to end up happening is these studios get into a really difficult position because they look at their potential and they say, okay, do we put it on Xbox and the others, but we miss out on PlayStation, which has so much market share? It's pretty complicated, man. Like there's a pretty gray moral area there that's getting exposed. As you can see now, a lot of legal counsel is starting to take notice of those practices as well. And the industry is changing. You know, the way that we work is changing. So, yeah, it's pretty messed up. I think that's pretty clear. But I just want to say there's a lot of ways in which we get our games, right? There's a pipeline that brings our games to us. Today, you might walk into retail stores and not see as many, let's say, physical Xbox games and not as much shelf share and so on, right? This is the same kind of knock-on effect, and I've known this for years. You know, as some people might know, not to go into specifics, but I do work in the industry. I've seen how over the last 10, 15 years, Sony has sort of like decided to, you know, say our way or the highway with everything. So I think this is what's going to happen. What's going to probably end up happening is as Xbox gains back a lot of the market share, that's going to become harder to justify for third parties to ignore, right? And they see where Xbox is going and how they're supporting and so on. And they're not even, you know, they're not even being as aggressive with Sony right now. I think that's also going to end up changing in the future. But, you know, this is like saying, what else do you expect, right? You've seen how Sony plays. They play as aggressively as possible, which is sort of understandable, but in the end, the players get hurt, the studios get hurt, and that just kills games, which is not good for anyone, right?
Absolutely, man.
That's correct.
Absolutely. So the thing I'm liking now is now we're having confirmation of all this. Now you have Congress actually talking to a Japanese representative and telling them, yo, why are you accepting these malpractices? Why are you allowing to Sony to basically gobble up the entire market and you're not saying anything? And look, I've never been in favor of politics getting between video games, because look at the mess they did back in the 90s when they said Mortal Kombat was too violent and shit like that.
Yeah, I remember those.
But when we're talking about things like this, and it makes you wonder, like, look, this is totally anecdotal. This is just an experience that I have here. I have a cousin that worked in a store that was equivalent to a Best Buy here in Panama. The distributor of Nintendo products and PlayStation products was owned, if I'm not mistaken, by Sony. So a subsidiary company from Sony was actually bringing the product inside the country. So we're talking about Sony had the control of bringing in Nintendo products and Xbox products. 360 was huge here in Panama. That was way back when. Nintendo is still big, but all of a sudden 360 and Xbox, all marketing brands, just disappeared. There's nothing about Xbox where I live. I had to buy my console and every Xbox product, controllers and everything, from scalpers or bringing it from the States. And this is just me. I don't know if there's something like blocking those products coming in the country, but it makes me think if Sony is doing the same thing elsewhere, because we know Sony is worldwide. We know Sony is everywhere. But why is Microsoft struggling to get in these countries? that's just that's the part that is weird to me. I know they're blocking games, but what is the extent of Sony actually blocking like consoles coming inside the country? I wonder if that's even a thing. Devin, what do you think? Is that even possible? Am I crazy?
I mean, you're absolutely not crazy that it would be a thing. Like it's just it would just be like, oh, what the hell? What happened?
You good?
Someone
Yeah,
dropped out.
Yeah, Mr. Spade.
This is space dropped out for a second.
Oh, okay. Got you.
I don't even know where I was going with that, Joey.
Okay. Let's put it this way. You think Sony's being a bitch and paying everybody off so Microsoft doesn't have a chance?
Of course, yeah, they're trying to abuse their top spot, their market share, their monopoly. And then they turn around and call it organic. And then when Xbox buys a publisher, they're just like, see, look at them, they're abusing their money. You know, but they're the ones really doing this shit behind the scenes.
All right, what do you think, Mr. Spade? Is that even possible?
Look, I think they've been pretty clear in showing that they have no remorse, no real shame. You know what I mean? Like, if you look at this whole year, the way that they've behaved is just absolutely unbelievable, right? They just straight up came. It's kind of like, I remember that scene from Breaking Bad when I forgot the name of the guy. Who's the guy from Far Cry 6 and Breaking Bad? I forget his.
Oh, you're talking about Esposito?
Fring.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So he goes and he tells him, you know what? I hide in plain sight, just like you, right? So it reminds me of that because that's exactly what Sony does. They're basically doing all the shady stuff and in plain sight and denying it to anyone. It's like they're playing dumb, but at the same time, they go ahead and accuse Microsoft of doing the same things, even though Microsoft hasn't done that, right? The amount of third-party blocking, the amount of things that they're blocking from Game Pass, just like really, really tight stuff. And then this whole year with ABK, I think that their attitude isn't going to change. They need a PS3 generation awakening, which was a pretty dramatic time for them. So it's going to happen. It's really going to happen because you can see a lot of things have happened, but they're not backing down, right? So once they start to lose people, once they start to see that they can get hurt, that's when they're going to start to adopt better consumer practices again. And you know what? It's just going to get ugly before it gets better. And I think Sony's really important as a part of the industry. But what they're doing is terrible at times because they're trying to kill any competition in the industry. Their whole focus is just to kill competition as opposed to, you know what? This is going to move the industry forward. Xbox decided, hey, we're going to move anyway. But Sony's shown their true colors as publicly as possible. And I think people are just not going to take them as seriously anymore, right? Apart from obviously Sony fanatics, which are obviously going to also turn over time. So we're just to wrap up my rant, right? My thoughts are super scattered today, so I apologize. But
No
Xbox
problem.
is really in a state of sort of, you know what? Things have to get worse before they become incredible, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they're building things up. They're quiet with the ABK thing. It's obvious. That's what it is, right? A whole year of completely different behavior. When they really get rolling after this merger is done, you won't be able to stop them. And whatever Sony's doing now, the third-party publishers are not going to be able to ignore Xbox anymore. It's going to happen quick. It's just going to be the next year and a half, and Xbox is really going to come out swinging. And then you'll know that they've been playing possum for about a year now, right?
Apparently, yeah.
Probably like 2 by now because we got to include the 2022.
Oh, 2022 was awful, to be honest.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, things don't always work out how we want, right? Like, there's a lot of behind the scene stuff that I understand pretty well and I get wind of, but development is interesting, right? They didn't want, like, the team didn't want 2022 to be what it was, but it was what it was. And now what they're trying to do is they're trying to get this deal done and just basically come out and give the fans what they want. There's so much on the line, but as Xbox fans, I don't think there's ever been a better time to be an Xbox fan, to be honest.
Oh, so
I have a question since we're talking about not only about the CMA, and us hearing the decision of the CMA. But it's funny that Sony does this, all this blocking to, towards Xbox on all that. But we never hear or see Sony, if we go through Google and say who are the top worldwide video game, whatever it is, usually you see Sony, Tencent, Microsoft, or whatever the case may be. But not too long ago, Embracer Group snatched a whole bunch and Sony didn't say anything. It's like they actually pointed straight to Xbox, like they have a nasty grudge.
Well, I don't think they're going to say anything to Embracer Group or to Tencent if they buy anybody, because at the end of the day, those games are going to PlayStation regardless. Those two, Embracer and Tencent, don't have their own platforms per se. So at the end of the day, they're going to publish on PlayStation. They're going to publish on Nintendo. They're going to publish on Xbox. The problem is, for Sony, apparently, is that Microsoft taking too much power. That's what their problem is. And as if I were Sony, of course I would have been fucking scared. Like, think about it. Like,
yeah, but majority of the time, we always keep hearing we have to worry about Tencent because they're a major player too.
That the worry for them is because they can take away publishers at the same rate as Microsoft can.
Exactly. Now you got my point.
They don't have to go under no scrutiny because they're like under a Chinese government, things like that. So they can do whatever they want basically, and that's like you're relinquishing power to foreign like entities that we don't know their politics or what they're capable of, and so that's the part that Microsoft is actually fighting against it because of that. They're actually helping the industry and keeping everything on this side. They're like indirectly they're helping Sony. Like, what do you want? You want, I don't know, ABK to be taken away from to Tencent? You want that? Like, imagine how what would a world with what kind of universe if Tencent is actually owning ABK? What would that look like? Like, how would that look like? What kind of game would that come out?
Because the way I see it, as Sony being a worldwide leader, you're a person that you're trying to pretty much protect on all fronts, if you know what I mean. Not only Microsoft, but in all fronts. That's like me. I understand what they're trying to do, because remember, we're talking about in the United States. It's a major player, but at the same time, it's like right now what we see. Their complaint is so lame that pretty much is falling flat.
No, they don't have. They have nothing. I think Hoglog said this from the beginning. They never had an argument to begin with, and I'm surprised how long this has taken. Like, for real, I was one of the crazy people, the crazy bots that said that last year, like, it was going to be done by September. That wasn't the case.
I think it was supposed to be by June of this year, and look at now.
Yeah, but I was like, nah, it's done by September. No, I was way off. But
yeah, but if you guys consider it, especially the people that are, I guess, in the group chats with me, I remember everybody was going crazy in February, March, April, just talking about all these hypotheticals and looking at phase 1, phase 2. There's so much attention being given to these processes, right? And what I said at the start was just forget about it for like a whole year. Then we're going to start to see things happen. Like right now, whatever happens is not really going to matter, because this is the biggest acquisition that Microsoft has ever done. As far as I remember, I don't think there's been a bigger one, right? It's freaking massive. And that just means that... Yeah, go ahead. So what I'm saying is internally, I remember just how many acquisitions have happened. This is the biggest one. We knew that it was going to be a really long road, so there was no point, even though everybody was talking about it. The indications that we're getting now in the last month and a half are the ones that have actually mattered, right? Because all these people, all these countries looking at this acquisition, it was going to take time.
But it's still funny though. Like, every single country is looking at this. But it's funny that every single one is doing its homework quicker than the big three: CMA, FTC, and EU. Now, because we're talking a bit about this right now, let's just segue straight up to this. Let me share my screen real quick. Now, Benji Sells tweeted this earlier, right? About an hour ago. The New York Post reports that Microsoft is preparing to close the Activision Blizzard acquisition. Microsoft is making plans to complete the $69 billion acquisition of Activision Blizzard, despite Federal Trade Commission move to block the deal. This started to run on Twitter today, a day before the CMA's final verdict tomorrow. To me, and this is just me, maybe I'm crazy. To me, Microsoft already knows what's the verdict tomorrow, and they're like straight up not caring from the EU and not caring for the FTC. And I think tomorrow we're gonna hear even Microsoft say this right away. We're proceeding to acquire Activision Blizzard without those two regions. What do you think, Devin? Do you think is that possible, or is just happening?
I definitely think it's possible, and I think like stuff that we've been seeing, like not only today, but like stuff that we've seen on Twitter yesterday, it seems like they're kind of flaunting right now. You know what I mean? Like kind of talking shit slightly. It's like back end talking shit. You know, like we already know. So they're kind of talking shit already. Like that seems like a good sign to me.
All right. What about you, Mr. Spade? What do you think? Do Microsoft know? Do Satya? Do Phil know that it's all done? It's all done. It's over.
I think they've already known what's going to happen, because if you look at what Phil said publicly to everybody, he said that the discussions were always really positive, right? He never said that they were having bad discussions or difficulties or anything like that. The only flaw, I think, came when the FTC didn't even give them a chance to talk to them, right? So that's just completely, I mean, that's totally unexpected. No one could have seen that coming. So what I think is this. I'm not sure if I can say that they're going to go ahead and make big announcements tomorrow and say, hey, we're closing the deal, because I think they would want to get EU and a couple of other countries on board first. I could be wrong. Let's see. But they, I think that they do come out with statements tomorrow, and they go in hard with the, you know what, COD for 150 million more people kind of marketing, and they go super positive with everything, and they start to open up a little bit more, right? People forget Xbox has a big month coming up. The next couple months are going to be huge. There's a huge game coming out. There's E3 coming up. So I think all that marketing push is going to come in. And probably as soon as the EU announces that it's going through, I think that's when they're going to say, okay, we're about to go ahead and close. And they're going to start to, gear up for all the transaction stuff, which is also obviously going to take a little bit of time. But I see it closing earliest mid-June. Probably super early in July, and I think that's probably what's going to happen. But I hope that, tomorrow they come out and say, we're holding like a round table and everybody's invited and COD for 150 million more people. But it's going to happen. It's pretty much in the books, but I always wait for an announcement. You can't before, right? There's going to be parties, like if tomorrow's news is great, you are going to have Ric Flair parties everywhere. You'll see them on Twitter.
Ric Flair parties. I don't know if I could go that far like that, man. I mean,
like airplane parties, I don't know if anybody knows what I'm referring to.
Yeah, he was butt naked at an airplane party. Yeah, I know that.
Oh, boy.
Shit. Yeah, he was, for real. So anyway, Devin, do you think anything can go left tomorrow? Do you think they're going to be like New Zealand that out of nowhere? They're like, you know what, let's postpone, let's delay the decision. Do you think that's even possible? They're going to do that?
I don't think anything like that's going to happen tomorrow. I feel like if something bad was going to happen, we'd know about it beforehand. So I feel like they would prepare for that, because they don't want something like that big of news. They don't want to just drop it on us like that. I feel like something would be said beforehand. So I think there's no chance.
So guys in the chat, is there any chance that tomorrow something bad could happen? Like at all? Do you think that everything's going to go smooth? Tomorrow's going to be a party, or at least one of the parties? Because I'm expecting at least 3. CMA is one of the parties. EU is one of the parties, and the roundtable, of course, is one of the parties. What do you guys think?
Do you think that the pony's voice that they were talking about, that Sony wanted it to use on the CMA, do you think it's gonna work? No. Not even that is gonna actually black the whole deal.
So no chance, right? So tomorrow's gonna be
No.
all fantastic. It's all done, right? Oh shit.
I wouldn't say no chance, but I'd say like it's a strong 90. You know, there's a 10% chance the CMA comes out and says maybe in an unprecedented move we need a little bit more time because we need a few more cloud agreements. You know, there's Amazon's pretty big, but that's a very weak argument. So I do think it'll be all roses tomorrow. But I never say, you know, never commit to an absolute, right? Just
correct.
wait till the official announcement, because things can always change last minute. But stay positive.
Percentage wise, Mr. Spade, what's your percentage of something like that happening?
He actually said 90.
Yes.
Yeah, strong 90, really good 90.
He's a
Feeling
90.
good about that one.
90. That's a good number, though. That's a good fucking number. Hey, shout out to the 71 people in here. Holy shit, man!
Hit that
Like,
like button.
I'm obviously not Dirt. I'm obviously not Sean, but I'm like humble that I've seen 71 people watching him. Like, thank you.
Hit the
very much.
like button.
And if you can hit the like button. Again, this is show number 2. I'm still finding my flow, but I want to be to the point where I'm talking shit, putting clips everywhere, and just having fun with you guys in the chat, man. I mean, hit the like button and shit, man. I'm humble, but anyway, again,
Use those tentacles.
Oh, shit.
no, actually, I do have to install my second screen. I do have it, but I have to put the thing on the wall. So that's the thing. So it will be easier because I have my tablet next to me, and it's not easy just to use the touch screen and then use the keyboard. It's like this. So I'd rather have the 2 screens. But I'll do that. Like, tomorrow we're gonna have that set up. So, but now we're still in the topic of
The decision for tomorrow.
the decision. No, not the decision for tomorrow. Actually, we're still talking about Microsoft not giving a shit about the FTC.
Oh yeah.
I'm going to you now. Do you think Lena Khan can do anything? Like, because we're apparently Microsoft said we don't give a fuck about you. Whatever you do, we're going to court. But do you think there's any chance of them fucking that shit up?
You mean Linward, Squidward's wife?
And yeah, exactly.
What can she say? She got screwed. You know, she got pretty much, you could say, slapped by the U.S. government. We already saw what happened. They already told her why you siding with Sony, and she pretty much was stuttering. So whatever she's gonna say is not gonna move any needles. I'm pretty sure what's gonna happen is they're gonna keep investigating not only the acquisition, but because remember they gotta do also the FTC, because there's a lot of things that are questionable when it comes to the FTC right now, especially the FTC alone. There's some crazy decisions, people leaving left and right, and I wouldn't be surprised if they're gonna say, like, you know what, because of what you have done, they call her that she was corrupted, you know, pretty much right there. It's like, you know what, it's not even worth.
You know what's funny? I was seeing the clips, right? Because I haven't seen the whole thing, but when the clips that I was seeing is like every single thing that we said on Twitter that was suspicious about her, every stance she made, every statement she did was said to her in the exact way we said it on Twitter. Like, it was the opposite when the FTC or her was actually was being like next to Sony, saying everything Sony said. The Congress was saying everything we were saying months ago on Twitter, and it was great. I'm like, you fuckers are listening to us. Like, it's obvious what she's doing. But anyway, go ahead, continue.
No, because what you say, I'm like, man, you are actually part of if you want to call it Congress or not, whatever the case may be, but of the United States, and you're supposed to help the United States. You're pretty much not doing what you're supposed to do. That's the first thing that is very, very questionable. So I wouldn't be surprised that Microsoft decision, like what you said, that they're gonna go straight and forget the FTC. I wouldn't be surprised for Microsoft to actually do that because of what happened on that day with Lena Khan, and now with what is it, the hearing with one of the Japanese. I think it was
That's a representative of the I think of the FTC of Japan, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
it was something like that. Even her, she was like, I didn't know this was happening, even though a lot of people lie about that part. But so you're becoming curious now. It's like I'm not, everybody knows that Microsoft saw that, and it's like, you know what, the Congress just actually put them on the spot. So what's the point of waiting on the FTC, because we just got them where we want them? So you know what? Well, let's forget the FTC and just keep moving forward.
What bothers me the most about this whole thing is the amount of time wasted
Mm-hmm.
on all of us just because Lena didn't like that Microsoft was buying somebody else, or she was actually friends with somebody in Sony or whatever, because that's what it looks like, right? It looks like she has like friends on the other side, and she's like, nah, you can't let this go through. And so she wasted everybody's time. And that what's bothering me the most. This could have been through a long time ago. But she's been blocking everything in a way that it's wasting everybody's money. And if you're an American citizen, is wasting your tax money. And it's just a waste of fucking time. And now here we are with her asking for more money, which the Congress is not going to give her. Apparently, she's going to lose the case of Microsoft if they go to court. And so everything she did was for nothing.
Listen,
So I just want to.
Go ahead.
I am interrupting, but this is a really good point, because I just want to add in, consider the fact that organizations like the FTC ask for money and funding from their superiors at a time when they know they're going to need the money for the next year, right? So their plan, I believe, was to sue Microsoft in the second half of this year, and I'm sure they need money to do that, right? Now they've been told that they're not going to get the money, right? That's basically what Congress said, right?
Correct.
If I'm not wrong, at least that's what they indicated. If they don't get the money, do they still go and sue, or they just drop the case because they know all the
They
cards
have
are
to.
against them, right?
Because remember, they even Sony, it said it in the article that remember when Microsoft asked for papers to Sony, like I think it was for 5 years back.
They were subpoenaed for a whole bunch of shit. But by the way, have we seen any of those papers?
No. And the first thing that they said was like, one is gonna take time and money. That's the first thing that they say, is time and money. So right now she doesn't have the time. So now, I mean, she doesn't have the money. Now the time is pretty much against her anyways.
So she's screwed.
She's screwed. Pretty much, she's really, really screwed. And like I was gonna say earlier, that's why her last name is Khan, because that's the sound of a hammer hitting her head. So she's screwed over. She's screwed.
I think there's a huge ideological problem with what she was trying to run with her organization, right? If you think about everything she said and done, it's basically if she sees big tech trying to acquire something, she's gonna give them hell, right? So it's like guilty until proven innocent, and that's kind of not how the law works, right? You have to be innocent until proven guilty. You need evidence, you need facts, you need numbers, and like Joey, you said perfectly, right? It's not just wasting time, but wasting tons of money, right? Think about how many homeless people could have been given food, right? Think about how many tax breaks could have been given out. Think about how much welfare could happen with that money that's being absolutely just burned on shoot first, ask questions later sort of an approach. I was astounded. I think I did a mini rant in one of the group chats when I saw those clips come out. It was insane. I couldn't believe that somebody can actually do that, right? And she totally got grilled, and I don't think she's a bad person. I just think that maybe this is a super, I would say a super exaggerated way to go about your business, as opposed to, let's say, a calculated and impactful way to do things. So waste of time, waste of money. And I think if she doesn't get that funding, I don't think the FTC sues. I think they drop the case because the CMA and the EU approve, and everything else just falls into place.
I think I'm with Boom on this one, because not too long ago, I think it was I don't know if it was her idea was fine, but her ideology was really, really bad, because she was really, really off. So I'm with Boom on that one.
And it's not because I'm a bot and I want this deal to go through, but if you have this, her thing is, she was talking to Congress, and she told Congress, which was funny, we were basing everything on evidence, and their decision is going to be based on evidence. But you had like years before, she's saying we don't need hard evidence. We can run under assumptions. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I actually captured that because it was like, they could give us all we want, but at the end of the day, we're the one who's gonna decide, what's gonna happen. I'm like, what?
Yeah, that was just a crazy thing. Since she was contradicting herself, and now she's being questioned about the same thing. And then now I'm like, no, we're all about facts. And now you're screwed because you're not all about facts. But Devin, over and under, she's getting fired. Like, when is she getting fired? Soon?
It's hard to say. I mean, like, because she wasted a lot of money. I mean, she lost a lot of cases, like even before this happened. And I know that was a big topic because she was just losing cases left and right. And now this case, I'm sure, costs more money than a lot of those cases. So,
yeah,
I couldn't really put it.
Let me rephrase that. Let me rephrase that for you, though. Who's going to lose his job first? Lena Khan or Jim Ryan?
Oh, shoot.
Lena Khan.
Yeah, Lena Khan.
Lena Khan. That's not a hard decision to make. Jim Ryan's going out there and he's flying country to country to try to get this deal stopped for the brand. Like, Lena Khan is just making mistakes. Period.
He probably gonna start giving out free copies of God of War.
Like, I can see him losing his job as well, but like not over this, because this has nothing really to do with him. If anything, he's trying to prevent it, but like that's about it.
That's right. So somebody said in the chat, Devin for president, and Devin is for president. Check it out. Absolutely, Devin is going to be for president.
United Xbox.
Exactly. United Xbox community. Yeah. That's all it's going to be.
That was unexpected.
So,
in Dev we trust.
If you had to predict who's going to lose this job first, is it going to be Lena Khan or Jim Ryan?
I think, as everybody said, pretty obvious Lena Khan. You know why? Look at how many people left her organization, right? And all of them cited her as the main reason for leaving. What's happening there is really bad. Like, if you see this happening in any other office, right? No matter what level of manager you might be, you're losing your job, So it's bad, It's like the PR is terrible. Everybody's, talking badly about you. There's proven, there's problems with your whole approach over as long as you've been there. I think she doesn't last very long. I think Jim Ryan, though, Jim Ryan is a weird one, right? It's so interesting to think about, because imagine what it must be like inside Sony. Like, I really wonder how he must be perceived. Is he like the hero that they think that they need? That's more interesting to think about. But yeah, I think Lena Khan.
Thank you for saying that. Like, how is he perceived inside Sony? Because if you think about it, yeah, he's selling a whole bunch of consoles. We know this. They're selling a whole bunch of copies of whatever their games are selling. But when it comes to this, to the ABK deal and blocking, we're trying to block Microsoft to getting ABK. He's failing in every front. He's spending a lot of executive money to go to these meetings, to fly to Brussels in private jets and all this stuff, spending money to try to block this deal. And to me, this kind of is equivalent to Lena Khan trying to block this acquisition on the FTC. Like, he's actually spending money.
Hey, Joey, so there's no games.
Exactly. We know about Spider-Man. Look, again, I'm a fucking bot. And I'm a DC fan. I don't give a fuck about Spider-Man. Now, that's the only thing I know Sony has right now. I'm not saying they're not going to have anything. Of course, they're going to have something. But right now, their year is dry. And if it wasn't for what's this game? A Harry Potter game? Hogwarts Legacy.
Hogwarts Legacy.
If it wasn't for that game being a marketing deal, Sony marketed deal, I just fucking wonder. Where would Sony be right now?
They'd be in a back alley making third-party deal for a game not to come to Xbox.
I'm gonna repeat it again. They're probably making more episodic game from Crunchyroll. You never know.
People in the chat, where would Sony be without Hogwarts Legacy right now? Like, for real, where would it be without Hogwarts Legacy? Mr. Spade, where would they
And-
be right now?
I think it's an interesting question, right? So, in that same discussion, consider that Jim Ryan has probably made a lot of promises to a lot of people, a lot of shareholders, a lot of, let's say, senior execs, maybe the CEO of Sony, right? And I say this because look at their approach. Their approach was absolutely crazy, just completely hypocritical. Those extreme actions come from a place of extreme expectations, right? So I think that, yeah, you're right. Maybe there is a chance that he might be penalized because he's flying around trying to save this, but they're not going to be able to do it. Maybe he set the wrong expectations. That's how I kind of see it. I think Sony's year is probably going to be revealed next month. So from what I understand, there's going to be a showcase. We're going to figure out what else they have for the year. I expect them to have at least one more game this year, but I don't think they're going to have a better year than Xbox this year. I think Xbox has just way too many huge games with Starfield, Redfall, Forza Motorsport, and anything else that might make
Woo.
it, right? So
Lies of
it's
P.
going to be huge. And we're not even talking about Game Pass yet. The Game Pass stack
yeah.
is just massive, you know?
Like what we heard today, that was massive. How they bumped Game Pass. That's crazy.
Yeah, talking about that, we got the quarterly earnings from Microsoft, and they were. I mean, I'm expecting you have some things to say there, Mister.
Yeah.
Mister.
Yeah, so
Okay.
that is interesting, right? So
Well, let me
I was
put this on
telling
the
people...
Go ahead.
Sorry?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
All right, so I was kind of talking to people this whole week, right? Because I wanted to kind of set the right expectations. I've known on the back end that, you know what, Xbox just hasn't had a lot of consoles out there because pretty much everywhere you look to buy one, you don't have one. Whereas, you know, PlayStation was going big with their marketing and their console push. Now, while that didn't happen, subscriptions like Game Pass are bringing in massive amounts of money. This is public information that you see on the screen right now, right? Assuming a $1 billion mark.
Yeah. Let me read it. So this says subscriptions like Game Pass generated nearly $1 billion in Q3. Let me read that again for those who say the Hi-Fi Rush failed and did not make money. But what's the point of making money if you're making
Not sustainable, like they usually like to say.
If you're making $1 billion in a quarter by yourself, just by people paying $9.99, and I'm going the lowest now. I know Game Pass Ultimate exists, but I'm choosing the $9.99. Assuming that $1 billion mark subscription made around 32% of total content and service revenue of the period. It appears that Game Pass is growing and still no update of subscriber numbers. Like having this much money coming to Game Pass, and you have these dumb people on the street saying that it's not. How is Microsoft making money? And I saw, it's Alex video, which we said this a long time ago.
Yeah, that was a great one.
Again, it's like, for the love of God, you have something every month. You have money coming in, recurring revenue coming in every month. You think Microsoft is worried that day one Hi-Fi Rush is not selling the amount they want to? No, they're not, because they have something that other people don't have. Recurrent fucking revenue. It's like me. Imagine if I worked from time to time, but I still get alimony from my dad. Not alimony from my dad. Child support from my dad. Imagine that. Like, I'm good. For the time being, I'm good. Right? So, to me, this is great. But my question is, why Microsoft has console,
that 30%, something like that.
No, not the drop. Why are they having problems bringing out with consoles? I thought we were done with that. I thought we were done with the whole thing.
Is it like a material, type of thing?
So
Yeah,
understand,
what's happening?
It's a little bit more complicated than that. So look, if you are Microsoft and you have 3 massive games launching in the second half of the year, right? And you think about when is the best time to put consoles out so we can attach software, so we can attach Game Pass, so we can make money. It's probably going to be when the games drop, right? More than that, they're also trying to add on servers, right? They're trying to get Game Pass and cloud ready for those games to drop, because now they're also entitled to, they're also giving cloud customers, proper services, right? So what's really happening here is, I think that when Redfall drops and when all these other games start dropping, You're going to start to see consoles pop up everywhere again. All the doom and gloom about Xbox console sales is super uninformed because technically speaking, you don't have the consoles. The demand is as high as ever. If they had consoles, they would still be selling very, very well. So we just gotta wait. We just gotta head a little bit deeper into Q4. Right now, Microsoft is done with the first month of Q4. Still got a couple more months, and then we're going into the big FY 2024, which is next financial year starting in June. So you're gonna see way more consoles throughout the rest of this year, and I think they're gonna make it back. Because as you see, in terms of the revenue, they still grew, right? They still made a lot of money from services. They're doing stuff. So as long as they're successful and they're gonna have the right supply at the right time, I think there's nothing to worry about.
There's one thing I said on WBG yesterday that I think my kids made me realize this, but Xbox, the console, is not the only child. So you have two others, right? You have PC and cloud. You have to take care of them too. And of course, the console, which was the only child back then, feels like there's no love for him, but it's not true. It's just that you have to take care of the other two babies too. And once everything is set up and everything is together, it's gonna be like a whole big old family. Everything is just great and fantastic. And everybody's gonna be happy. That's the example I gave yesterday. And I understand console players are like a little bit left down because I've seen the tweets. I'm on social media every day. I've seen tweets like Xbox is making console players feel like secondhand citizens. I'm like, dude, you really for real? That's how you feel? Like, calm your ass down. But what you said, Mr. Spade, kind of makes sense. If they're still allocating more and more consoles into the servers, because apparently they're getting a huge bump in cloud services and people are joining in cloud. And if that's the case, then of course we're not going to see consoles. And as a business, and Microsoft loved the whole infrastructure of cloud, of course, I think they're going to be happy in that point. But on the console side, I do see the point where people are kind of feeling sad. But at the same time, like, I think they're holding back. I think they're holding back because they want to see the ABK go through. Devin, what do you think?
I mean, I don't really think there's any reason to really feel bad as far as like Xbox and gaming goes with this Q3. Like, they said that they broke Q3 records of active users and devices. They made $1 billion with Game Pass just this quarter. Like,
with no games.
I don't really think we have anything to really worry about here, guys.
Yeah, and consider this as well, right? When you think about Xbox console owners, it's always going to be the core of the business, at least for the next, foreseeable future, right? But what they're really trying to do right now is they want to make noise when they can make noise. They still can't satisfy the demand that they have. We're almost 3 years into this generation, and they still haven't gotten to a point where they put consoles out, but not been able to sell, or had difficulties trying to, they might have to put out bundles or whatever. You'll notice this. There's not a lot of bundles out there for either PlayStation or Xbox, less so for Xbox. I know PlayStation still does bundles for games that don't perform as well. Shout out Horizon. But it's like saying that, you got to strike when the iron's hot. Right now, just to be very honest, looking at it from all sides of the business, Xbox is playing possum, but there's a huge bear behind the tree. Like you might think that you know what they're doing. Obviously, they have to play possum for the deal. It's pretty obvious at this moment, but once it passes, like Joey, you said, right? It's not the only child. They're building a huge platform. And this is not just the future. It's going to become the present really, really soon when those games start dropping. Redfall's going to come out in a few days. 30 FPS or 60 FPS. That might affect me as a core gamer. But the majority of gamers out there who have Game Pass, they're going to jump into Arcane's game. They're going to jump into PC. It's still going to be super successful, guys. So it's all good things. I don't think you should. I tell this to people all the time because I see people doom and glooming and spreading FUD. Like, Xbox has been around for more than 20 years. If Microsoft was going to kill Xbox, they would have killed it when the Red Ring happened all those years ago.
Oh yeah,
there's nothing to worry about with that.
Hey, like Xbox was so, like, and people talk about the Red Ring. Like, people would get the Red Ring, buy another Xbox, get the Red Ring again, and then buy another Xbox.
Yeah.
My first Xbox was an Xbox Elite, the black one. That thing died. Then I got
one of those actually
for months because I couldn't send it back. for months. I had that console open with a fan blowing directly because I thought it was too hot. And I was like playing for 15, 20 minutes, but I was trying to keep that thing alive. I never said, fuck this, I'm going to PlayStation. Not once said that. And once the slim model came out, I run straight up and to buy that console. That's how much I was in love with the fucking Xbox.
I did the same.
That's how much I love in the Xbox I was, and I'm still are. I don't do.
Joey, if the launch of the Xbox One in like the couple years that followed after that didn't kill Xbox, there's nothing that could ever kill Xbox.
I said this yesterday in WBG.
Never.
Since the first E3 that the OG Xbox did not turn on stage, there was articles that Xbox was already dead. That was 20 years ago, right? Until this day, people are still saying Xbox is dead, that Halo is dead, that all these things are dead. And then you see the numbers and they're still here. They're the ones investing more than anybody else. And apparently they're the ones actually taking care of the industry more than anybody else. They're the only ones with the backwards compatibility initiative. I don't see it. Well, Nintendo kind of has done it, but it's not the same. So I don't know what to say. I don't feel that Xbox is going away. I don't think Xbox is going away. And I think it's stupid if Xbox is going away.
You see what Oracular said, Joey?
Point, because okay, go ahead. Who wants?
No, I was gonna because I have a question for you, Mr. Spade.
Yeah, go ahead.
For what you say, it got me like really, really thinking. That's why I was so quiet. What would you say to people that say, I bought the console because like you said, sometimes you gotta it takes time, more console because of the cloud. There's a possibility that they might bundle something else so they could have more consoles pretty much sold. But what about for people that bought the console and they bought it specifically, like, let's say for Bethesda, and they're really, really upset because they're not going like what we were talking about, upset because it's not going what you expect? What will you say to those people that they jumped the guns way too fast, too soon, knowing that this changes is going to happen sooner or later?
And there's delays, and then there's games that might have problems shipping, or there might be timelines that have been missed. That's really valid, man. Look, what I would say to anyone who feels frustrated by that is that, you know what, the team tries to be as transparent as possible. At the end of the day, gaming is about fun. It's not about life and death. You know what I mean? Some people take it way too seriously. This is about enjoying. It's a very human product. Xbox is a very emotional human product for Microsoft, so they really care about it. So what I would really say is Bethesda's here. If you've stuck with Xbox so long, there's a reason you have, right? Because if you didn't know that the games were coming like for 2-3 years and you had no idea and you expected them to come soon, like nobody announced that, right? I think at most you've probably seen like a delay of a year, which was both Starfield and Redfall, which is, again, like I learned time and time again that developers and marketing just it's never aligned. You know what I mean? So it's a bad thing. Honestly, it's something that whenever I see customers and people's emotions, and I see that they're disappointed, I'm never happy, and I don't think that's what anybody wants. But the team can only try to be as transparent as they can about their challenges, and the games are here. They have been doing an incredible job with things like Game Pass, day one drops, backwards compatibility, the biggest library on any console out there today, some of the best experience in terms of image quality. You do see a lot of games, when the developers take advantage of the console, you do see really, really good stuff. And if you love Bethesda, right, and you're waiting for all the stuff, Bethesda has a huge amount of games on Game Pass. Like, I'm sure even Bethesda superfans haven't played everything. I've been playing Bethesda since 2003, and I still haven't played every Bethesda game because they have so many incredible IPs under their belt. So you have time. There's a lot of incredible games, third-party games out right now, and those games are going to hit. We're almost there at Redfall. If you're a core gamer and you don't like something, reach out, give feedback to the team. I give feedback to teams all the time, honestly. And they're all human, right? So everybody makes mistakes. Sony makes mistakes all the time. Nintendo's always making mistakes. And it's just that because Xbox has a lot more to prove, they get a lot more heat in the media, right? So this all comes with the territory. Even though they miss sometimes, Xbox has consistently provided us with just incredible flow of games, great value, great consoles, just really, really good stuff, And if you're still not satisfied with that, well, The team is trying.
That's a them problem. That's a them problem now.
Yeah, because the thing is that it just surprises me that sometimes people just wanted it to buy for that particular studio, but the reason, but they don't see like Lies of P, like what we were talking about, Game Pass. That's why we see the rise of of subscriptions, because some of them are missing. I believe like they're missing like Lies of P because they're stuck into one studio. So why am I saying all this?
Now that you're saying that, that's my only criticism, real criticism of Xbox, is that I feel like they have to market a little bit stronger. They have to let people know that Game Pass is a thing.
Absolutely.
And that Game Pass is the best thing out there. A lot of people are missing out because they're just not saying anything. Like, just do a good ass trailer with all the games that are coming into Game Pass. We have Redfall that are in first party, regardless of the controversy of third frames or not. You got Starfield coming. You got Forza coming. In a few days, you got the last case of Benedict. What is his name? I was gonna say during the Cumberbatch, not that guy.
Lies of P.
Lies of P is coming, and whatever other game we don't even know. Just do a trailer. Show these things on air. Let people know, hey, you exist. And not only that, you have a whole bunch of games in there. Forza Horizon 5 is a game I still play. I don't stop playing that game because I love it so much. It's the best racer out there. Promote that shit.
Let me help you out on that. And that's something that I be stressing a lot of the times. And I did that when I was with Good Morning Xbox. Please, every first party studios that you have, please market the fuck out of that thing. That's your main thing. I know it's Game Pass, but the thing is, majority, like that's what we were talking about earlier about exclusivities. Sometimes that's something that you really have to market the hell out of it, including with the Game Pass. I know they have done it, but they need to push that a little bit harder and not just let it whatever it is. But Go ahead.
I don't think that they need to push it a little bit harder. I think they need to push it way harder, right?
Yep.
There is a lot of work that needs to happen on the marketing side. This is one of the reasons that I'll refer to some of the public information out there. One of the reasons Phil talks a lot about, autonomy and, keeping studios and publishers as they're buying them. Because look at how Bethesda does. Like, Starfield trailers out there have millions of views. Lots of engagement. Redfall is out there making news. Like, Arcane is so noisy with their stuff. You remember all the Deathloop trailers and all the gameplay that
even Ghostwire Tokyo got that.
Yeah, that's one of the best things. So this is already Xbox, right? I think with Xbox Game Studios, again, these are all differently structured organizations. So you gotta understand that they need to learn from each other and do better. I do think that it needs to be marketed a lot better. I don't know how much I can talk about like now, but just watch out for more information from the team over the next couple of months. You might see someone, maybe some analyst talking about it, or maybe Jez or somebody might talk about it a little bit more. But there are some things happening, right? Which might, make you see more of Xbox. You'll see them make a lot more noise. And I want to stress one more time, this last year and a half, Xbox has sort of had to be a little bit more under the radar and not boast about all the great things that are happening as much, right? Normally they always show up to the Game Awards. What happened? They didn't show up. I'm making an assumption. I don't have any concrete information here, and I don't want to speak on behalf of any team, but basically expect things to get a lot noisier. You remember how things were right before the ABK announced, right? How they had everything on lock every week, new information, lots of things happening. Expect that sort of thing to come back, and I think with the amount of games that are going to be coming, the marketing is just going to get better automatically. These are like key beats for that team to sell consoles, to sell games, to sell Game Pass. So it's going to happen. One thing I got to add, though, you talked about third-party games. I think because of how often third-party games come and go in the service, I don't know how much of a marketing, let's say, strategy they can adopt for that. But for first-party, I assume that it's going to be pretty strong for the rest of the year.
Yeah, because the thing is that's the part that I believe, and I think that it should get worked on a little bit better. But I'm with you. If Bethesda and Microsoft, they learn with each other how to do that, that's gonna be something really big. I can see that.
All right. So let's jump to the next topic real quick.
Let's go.
And the topic is CMA. We are 24 hours from the CMA give a decision. And let me tell you something. If this decision goes through and Microsoft says we're going through, every bot on Twitter is going to be like that.
Yeah, you know which one you needed to put? The butterfly with the dirt.
I don't have that. That's copyrighted from Dirt Diggity. But I swear to God, every single bot on Twitter is going to have the amount. I don't even know how many receipts we have already, how many folders, how many cloud saves we're going to have of receipts of people saying this is not going to go through. And based off what Microsoft is saying today, that they're going to go and proceed with the acquisition with the FTC, what do you think is going to happen tomorrow? Shaddai, what's going to happen tomorrow? If they're going to say, we're good, go ahead, buy the fuckers. What's going to happen tomorrow? Any concessions, anything. What's going to happen tomorrow? What do you think is going to happen?
Man, I wish I could sing that song from Dirt Griggity with the butterfly, but I'm not going to do it. I let them do that. But I think that's going to be my reaction for that. Once they say, you know what? They clear everything out. We came into an agreement that this is going to happen. It is what it is. Sony, get out of here, pretty much. So,
you think the FTC, CMA, sorry, is gonna? They're not gonna give any concessions at all. Like it's gonna just go through.
Remember, they asked so many questions. What about this? What about that? What about the cloud? And they were like, I give you this, I give you that. So, from what I've seen, they already agreed to everything that the CMA asked for. So what else do they want? Unless if they say, are you looking forward to Sony being bankrupt? They're probably gonna say, yeah, no. but no, they already agreed to everything.
Because as far as I understand, everything they were concerned about, because their first statement they said, or something they put out, was they were not concerned about the console business anymore. Yep. Everything was fine there. They were more worried about the cloud infrastructure and what's going to happen in the future with cloud services. And Microsoft has basically had made deals with a whole bunch of people, a whole bunch of companies that we didn't even know existed. And they have made 10-year deals. The only person that hasn't signed yet, and I don't even know if they need to sign anymore. I don't even know if they're required to sign. And if they don't sign, can Microsoft do whatever they want with COD and say, you know what, you're not going to get COD anymore, and that's it, you're done? So,
we got to understand. It's every 10 years. Remember, it's going to be every 10 years that they're going to renew that. So, I think...
should they, though? After you having your neighbor snitching on you, talking shit behind your back, even trying to burn your house, and you're still going to give that motherfucker a deal? Is that even fair?
Let's put it this way. Since that analogy is kind of crazy, it's common sense, I'm going to say no to it. But in a business way, even though if it's going to bother you, you're probably going to go we're still going to go for the money, unless if it's well, probably not, but probably it's going to do other businesses, elsewhere, but probably not specifically that, that company. It pretty much all depends. You never know what will happen, what is going to happen within those 10 years with Sony. Anyways, are they going to be the same, or is it going to, or are they going to change attitudes? Because by the width, the what is it called? By the width, the donkey will learn. So,
Mr. Spade.
Look, I think that's an interesting question.
Go ahead.
Right? I got you. Did you have another one?
No, go ahead.
No, sorry guys. My setup is real janky, so sometimes I hear. I don't mean to interrupt anybody. But look, I think it's a really interesting thing to say, right? What's going to happen with the deal that was offered? I have a strange opinion here. What I think might happen is that they don't go and sign another 10-year deal, but they wait for the current one to expire and then offer them a different deal, which is probably not going to be as good as a 10-year deal.
Yep.
Right? That's, I think, what's going to happen. So they wait till the end of next year, whenever that deal expires, and they offer Sony that deal. I think absolutely Microsoft has full intention to keep COD multi-platform, even if they choose to do whatever they want now. They've already made the public statements for the players. They've already told everybody, look, we care about you. We want to make sure you get the same experience as everybody. Because you know what? When we didn't have the power and Sony had the market leader power, you took away, let's say, all those benefits from our gamers and made us look bad, right? But we're not going to do that with you. So I think they're still going to keep doing that. But what they might do is they might rewrite that contract and put a lot of friction inside those words, you know, for Sony. And it might change the way that Sony earns money. Maybe it might be some terms that, you know, they're not as happy about. But look, it's fair, right? It's fair after all the years and all that they did this year. I think that Sony really needs to, you know, sort of be, you know, they need to just take their beating, so to speak, right, with this. So it's going to happen.
I have a question. It just popped into my mind. Did they said somewhere on Twitter the time or the specific time that the CMA is going to make that decision?
No, but I'm betting that at 3 a.m. in the morning.
Okay, let's put it that way.
I'm betting at 3 a.m. in the morning Eastern time, we're gonna be sleeping or just looking at our phones, and all of a sudden somebody's gonna put a tweet like the deal went through. That's what I'm thinking.
Can you imagine? Within 10 minutes before the due time, Sony was like, "Okay, I'll sign it on the last minute." Like, you know, like.
Well.
That's
to
crazy.
be honest, now that you're saying that, if tomorrow the CMA actually goes and says Microsoft did whatever they needed to do and we're fine with it, no concessions done, the deal is going through, I would not be surprised that same day Microsoft is announcing that Sony actually
agreed,
went to an agreement with them and actually went for the 10 years. I wouldn't be surprised
if that happened on the last minute.
Basically, tomorrow we might see Jim Ryan actually bending the knee to Phil Spencer for real. That's what I think. That could be
I don't know, man. Like I keep thinking about it, and I think like after all the trouble that they gave Microsoft this year for this, right? After just the complete public attacks, and you know, Jim Ryan mentioned. I can't believe Jim Ryan mentioning Phil by name, and you know.
Oh yeah.
Like saying something against him. I've never heard of company. This was like a proper console war. You know what I mean? This has become something a lot bigger than it was, and I think probably they take some time. You know, I don't think they take away COD from PlayStation, but I think Astel in the GC mentioned something that I really like. I wonder, because Sony has done this before. You know, they might say, hey, you know what? You need our players. We're the biggest platform. We're just not gonna have COD on PlayStation.
Do they though? When they're making $1 billion without Sony on just Game Pass?
No, you know, they have Nintendo. They're the biggest one right there, so they don't need to worry about Sony. They got Nintendo, you know, behind their backs.
That's a very unlikely scenario, but it would be crazy if it happened, you know?
Yeah, no, I wouldn't be surprised, because remember, and I know you probably know this or heard about this, but Microsoft and Nintendo, they're buddies, so I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, just down the road, I've seen Nintendo's office a couple of times. Nice office.
Do you say hi to Mario? No, stop.
Nah, but they have a Bowser there now, so.
Gotcha.
Yeah, man.
Gotcha.
You know, I really think that people don't understand how huge this deal is. So just to answer your earlier topic, Joey, right? Your earlier question, like what's going to happen tomorrow is that a lot of the people who have no idea what Activision Blizzard means for the industry and for Microsoft, it's going to start to sink in. Like Microsoft is getting this publisher, and it's a huge deal, and it's going to change everything, because just like Dune, right? They're going to be controlling the spice. They'll have the hottest thing on the market in their control, right? And that's what Sony's scared of, because now they have something on Sony always. As long as they control the biggest franchise, whatever Sony tries to do, all these third-party things that they've been doing, all the shady stuff, you know, if they abuse that, Microsoft has the power to sort of say, you know what? We see what you're doing, and we control the biggest franchise, so something bad is going to happen. You know what I mean?
Basically the topic is going full circle. Now having COD on your side, now having this big game that you could use as a weapon. Do you think all these third-party nasty deals that Sony has done to prevent Microsoft to get any games will stop? Like, I have COD.
Mhm.
This is making you billions of dollars. You apparently like publicly have said it. Without COD, you are shit. Without COD,
Yep.
your games are worthless. You cannot survive. Yada yada yada. You're dog shit. I have it. If you keep doing these deals against me, if you keep taking away Mega Man, Battle Network, and fucking Oxenfree off my fucking platform, I will take COD away because no regulator has given any concessions against me. Do you think they're going to use that? Do you think Sony's going to be back off a little bit and say, you know what, you got to back
haven't
off.
they? Haven't they
won't
used that?
Michi Poo says they won't stop. It won't stop. At the same time, I don't want them to stop because it's competition, right? Like, at some point, you have to do something for your platform. But at the same time, now Microsoft has COD. Like, it's not no easy, small thing. Unless these 12 games as a service that Sony is apparently making is better and bigger than COD, which I don't see. Maybe one or two is going to survive, but not any of those. Do you think that the Sony is going to back off, or is it going to be as petty as ever?
Because
That's
remember, because what you said earlier, didn't they use that by using Redfall being exclusive? Do you remember that?
Well, that's just the ponies crying bullshit. and now they're like, it's 30 frames per second. Now the game is bullshit back again. That's just the bubble of Twitter. Twitter's the bubble, and whatever. I don't give a fuck about that. But anyway, again, will Sony back off? People in the chat, will Sony back off now that Xbox is about to have COD on their side, or they're just going to be petty and should just destroy the PlayStation brand? I don't hope that happens, but I kind of hope that happens. I want Sony to go back to the Stone Age. I want them to be slapped for real. I fucking hate those fuckers for real. But anyway, Mr. Spade, what do you think? What do you think is gonna happen?
Like I said, right? It's like earlier I said that they need to have a PS3 era reawakening to be able to appreciate their players like they used to be able to appreciate developers like they used to. They've become so obsessed with keeping their market leadership status that they hurt other players, right? That's what they're kind of doing. They see Xbox, they see red, right? So what's probably going to happen is, so it goes one of two ways. What I think might happen is they might back off a little bit because they know COD is a massive property and they need COD on their platform. It makes them a ton of revenue, a ton of profits from those microtransactions, from those game sales. All that stuff is important for Sony. So I think they look at it, and if someone like Jim Ryan says, hey, you know what, we want to go pettier, or we don't want COD on our platform, he would be fired, because think about it, the amount of revenue drop that they would have just would not be worth it, right? So as much as I would like to see it get a little bit more dramatic, I don't think it's going to get a lot more dramatic. I think FTC drops the case. I think we never get to see what documents were subpoenaed. You know what I mean? I think that's probably what's going to happen. And this way, they sort of learned that, you know what, if we cross the line too many times, Xbox has this massive property and all of this power. Game Pass is stronger than ever. Call of Duty is included with Game Pass. That's a huge deal, right? That's really going to bring in players. So, yeah, I think they back off a little bit. But you know what? Sony has been surprising us, right, with their lack of logic. So who knows? Maybe I'm wrong, and we wake up to news that, you know, Sony makes an announcement. No more COD on PlayStation. You know,
I mean, the only way, and I'm gonna use Sour Blow for this. The only way I see them saying, you know what, we don't want COD anymore. The only way I see that happen if Sony does this. Where is it? They lock GTA 6. I think that's the only game, the only IP that can put in front of COD and say "fuck you."
Yeah,
I think that's
that would be too much.
Now, how much would that cost? How much Sony has to put on the table just to make a Take-Two say, or Rockstar say, you know what, make it exclusive? How much would that take? How much money, for real?
Just sell Crunchyroll.
Not enough.
Man, look, a lot of people still don't realize that Grand Theft Auto 5 is the highest selling and highest revenue entertainment property in the world. More than any movie, more than any bit of music, it is the highest earning thing in the world, right? That one game has made that much money. So it would have to be some crazy amount of money, man, like to get Take-Two to take that game off of off of it. But you know what they could do? They could market Grand Theft Auto, and they could pull an Xbox 360, where basically they have expansions and campaigns that are exclusive to PlayStation, right?
Didn't they do that
They could
already?
pull something shady like that.
Didn't they do that already with GTA 5? I think GTA 5 was marketed by
No, I
PlayStation.
think it was 4. They did that.
No, 4 was 360.
No,
Five,
you're
I
right.
think
You're right.
PlayStation had it.
No,
5
you're
had it. I think they did something similar to that.
But
Already.
Xbox had two entire campaigns that were exclusive for Xbox, right? And they were marketing Grand Theft Auto 4. I don't think GTA 5 had any story expansions or any large bit of content that was exclusive to PlayStation. So I think it would take a lot of money to make that happen.
True. And selling Crunchyroll and what's the other one they have?
Nixes and
It's not
House
going to be
Marquee.
Did they have Funimation?
Funimation, yeah. I don't think selling
Funimation.
those two and selling Nixes and Naughty Dog is not going to be enough. That's a lot of money. Like somebody said in the chat, like I think it's cheaper to buy Take-Two in its entirely than actually getting an exclusive from GTA.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It would take an insane amount of money to get them to take that off, because Grand Theft Auto is more than 20, 30 times as big as GTA 4 was, right? So we've already seen the leaks, like the Grand Theft Auto 6 leaks are out. You know, it's going to be massive. It's going to be huge. Whenever that game hits, I mean, it's going to take over the whole year, the whole generation, 2 generations in the case of GTA 5. So yeah, I doubt they do something like that because they probably can't afford it, to be very honest.
All right. Well, anyway, guys, I think that's good enough. It's been fun. Again, tomorrow, I don't know what time, because I'm Central Time, right? A lot of people are Eastern. So
Yeah,
people
I mean-
who are in Europe are the people actually going to notify us on the DMs that if the deal went through. And again,
Sean better be
yeah,
awake.
Sean might be like I think Estelle's going to be awake. A whole bunch of people in the DMs is going to be awake. And again, if that thing says we are approving, all the bots out there are going to be like, it's going to be obnoxious on Twitter. Everybody's going to be out there, and it's well deserved because we've taken so much shit from the ponies, even this fucking week. With the fake news and everything, Jeff Grau making the mistake, and they ran with it. Enough is enough with this. And tomorrow, guys, is going to be one of the first W's from this whole deal. We're soon to close everything. We're literally dawn on the final day. It's the beginning of the end for this whole thing of Xbox has no games. This was shit.
Microsoft is desperate. Microsoft is desperate.
All this yik, which is I'm fucking tired of it. Tomorrow, we're gonna see a lot of tears if everything goes to plan, right? Because most likely somebody's gonna clip this and something bad's happened. Like you see this dumb bot. But tomorrow is gonna be a glorious day, hopefully.
It's a strong 90, you know? And the craziest thing is, I don't think that a lot of us understand the real impact of this massive deal. I know there's a reason all these studios and everything is, you know, like Microsoft pursued it so aggressively and they really want it. It's the perfect storm. And it's not just going to be tomorrow, right? We've got a huge couple of months coming up. There's E3. E3 is going to happen. You know, the Xbox showcase is going to be a big deal. The Starfield drop is going to happen, which is going to be
the
massive.
showcase.
Redfall probably is going to be quite successful because Arcane has not missed so far. And hopefully they come out and they let people know when that 60 FPS patch is coming. So the core gamers like me are also going to be happy. Guys, it's going to be a crazy year. Like, they're going to probably, and I say probably because I'm assuming and I don't know anything, but they're going to probably, you know, talk about when Motorsport is dropping and what other games we might be able to expect this year, because some
Hellblade.
Hellblade. Look,
Sorry.
As much as I want Hellblade dropping in November per se, I don't think it's gonna be in November. I think it's gonna be
Don't make me happy, man, because that's my birthday around there, man.
honestly, I think it's gonna be like early next year. I think that's gonna be the first game for next year, like February. In my opinion, if it comes this year, fuck it, I don't care. But I think it's gonna be early next year. And
people forget, man. People forget how many studios Microsoft has. They could drop anything, you know?
Dude, we forget. I mean, I saw a tweet like 2 days ago Phil is actually playing Pillars of Eternity. Why is he playing that? Why is he playing that? We know Phil.
I saw that.
When he goes back to an old game, it's because he wants to get, be more familiar with the lore of the game, or maybe because he played something and he's like, you know what? Let me go back, play this game before jumping to the new one. And to be honest, I think that Avowed is closer than we think. Just because Phil Spencer's playing Pillars of Eternity, and it's the same universe. That's my assumption. That's my theory. But hopefully,
remember that, what is it called, on recorder or something like that? That supposedly that's gonna be Perfect Dark too.
No, ain't that like they're using the thing of the faces, meta faces? I think from Real. Well, I mean,
I think the meta thing was like from Ninja Theory for the Unreal Engine.
No, apparently also for Perfect Dark. I'm not sure, but recently we heard from Fable that they're doing flights. Phil is playing Pillars of Eternity for no goddamn reason. Hellblade, it's might as well. I think that game is just done. We hear Forza is in a polishing phase.
Yep.
We know Starfield's in the polishing phase. Redfall is about to drop, and whatever other surprise we don't know about. ABK is about to drop. So I think we're feeling a little bit let down by Microsoft, but I think they're going to surpass our expectations once tomorrow is the first chip that drops from the domino effect. That's my opinion. But anyway, I think the show is. I'm not going to do a 2-hour show. I got things to do. But I'm going to start with Mr. Spade, which was the unexpected guest. I love having you here, man. Where can we find you? What are you doing? Are you still playing guitar? What happened to your YouTube channel? Talk to us, man.
Yeah, man. First off, man, thanks a lot for having me. I want to apologize for my setup. It's very janky. I haven't put together my stuff, so some things clip back and forth. But I'm super happy, man. I love talking about games. I can't wait for this deal to go through so we can actually talk about the Xbox games. That's kind of what I really like to talk about, apart from the legal stuff. And you guys can find me on Twitter if you want to just see what I do. It's mostly I post a lot of gameplay. I talk about games. There's a lot of positive stuff. I don't really, partake in a lot of negativity, but there is, there's a lot of nice things happening, and I love to talk to people about games, man. So it's Mr. Spade 22 on Twitter. Just hang out, say hi, and once again, guys, I see you as like my community. You're my friends. I'm here as a fan. I love talking about this stuff, man. And one of these days, maybe I can come back when something big like this is happening again. I'd love to hop on and just like talk, man. It's so much fun.
Might as well hop on tomorrow, maybe, because tomorrow might be a big day, bigger than we think. But who knows, right?
Strong 90. And guys, remember, as a last note from me, when you're looking at that possum, there's a grizzly behind the tree, right? So watch out for the bear. It's coming.
I like the analogy. Like, keep fucking with the possum, a bear is gonna pop out. Mr. Shaddai, where can people find you? And what are you doing in your life?
Oh, okay.
Apart from playing games.
No, the stuff that I said earlier, it's just joking aside, but at the end of the day, it's about time that Xbox, Microsoft have done something, in the gaming division, which I know they have. It has been kind of up and down, but at least we have seen something that Microsoft is like working on it really, really hard to make it better, which is the Xbox division. But I'm looking forward for tomorrow. Other than that, thank you, Joey, for inviting me. I wasn't expecting this. People can find me on Twitter at Eternal Shaddai, exactly as you see on the screen. Also, I wanted to announce that on Friday, I'm going to be doing Xbox International in Espanol or in Spanish. So it's going to be Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern with Sour Blow. So thank you for having me.
So we'll have la mierda
Yeah, I'm going to talk a lot of shit. I will be probably here and there talking shit in Spanish, yes.
He's going to be talking esa mierda en español.
Just in case, whatever we hear in English, in Spanish is the same thing. so no matter what country are you from, the shit is still the same. It's still brown. So.
Come on, man. But anyway, from the people in the chat, I saw we reached 81 people. all I can say is thank you. Like, to me, this is new. I'm not used to this. It's still hard for me to host a show. I still need to find my rhythm. But all I can say is thank you. I'm humble, and hopefully this journey can continue, and we can always talk positive about Xbox. Enough with the doom and gloom. It's been years about that shit. We're tired of it. Over here, we have the same rules as TTS and WBG. Talk that shit. We always bleed green, and we'll always ban ponies out of the chat. Because fuck the ponies. I don't like those fuckers. For real. I don't like them.
Hit him by the whip. Hit him by the whip.
Hit him, shoot him, do whatever you want. I got a lot of mods now.
Man,
so if
Dirt is so funny with that.
Yeah,
he says like I hate you. I hate you all.
I hate you.
Yeah, he goes crazy.
I loathe you. So anyway, guys, thank you for being here. All I can say, I don't even like asking to subscribe or hit the like button, but if you so desire to do so, hit the like button, share it out with a friend or something, and hopefully we can see us next week. Next week, I'm gonna change the time. I have to start the show a little bit earlier, so instead of 6 p.m. Eastern, it's gonna be 5 p.m. Eastern and 4 p.m. Central Time. So again, thank you everybody. One Trick Pony, yes, la caca, la mierda.
I know, I saw that.
So see you guys next week. Remember, always TTS, guys.